Okay. As I said earlier, we are doing things a bit differently. And today we're going to walk through that first Easter day from a metaphysical point of view, followed by a white stone ceremony. One of Unity's foundational teachings is that Jesus was a man who obtained full Christ consciousness, and that if he was able to do that, so are we. One of the challenges is that we look at ourselves as being less than. And as I said a couple of weeks ago, we see ourselves as ordinary and Jesus as a God. The truth that Jesus taught was not a truth of selectivity. He never said, worship me. He said, follow me. He told those around him, the ones who listened and followed, that they could do whatever he did. Do you believe that to be true of you? That is what today is all about. It is about recognizing the power of the resurrection in our lives, that which has been killed off, our faith, hope, joy, peace, our dreams, whatever it has been that has been killed off, or we believe that it has been killed off, is resurrected into new life. Not the life that it had before, but a new life, a life that is fully aware of its power and strength. This story of Jesus's resurrection is also a part of our own story of a process of movement of energy that rises us to Christ consciousness. Listen and follow as we walk through this holy day of resurrection and receive a new name. And so I'm going to invite the candle lighters to line up in order right over here. And Jeanette, you want to come up? All right. Go ahead.
Reading from John 20, verses 1 and 2. Early on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene came to the tomb and saw that the stone had been removed from the tomb. So she ran and went to Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one whom Jesus loved, and said to them, "They have taken the Lord out of the tomb, and we do not know where they have laid him."
It is dark. And this is the first movement of the resurrection. We recognize that we are in the dark. The darkness of the tomb can be thought of as the darkness of the womb. Darkness is the beginning of all creation. Darkness has been interpreted as something that is not good. The dark can be scary because we are in a place of the unknown. And yet when we recognize the darkness as a place that is necessary for new birth, we open ourselves to greater possibilities. Possibilities that we might not be aware of in this moment. It is in this darkness that Mary moves towards the unknown. She thinks she knows what to expect and finds something completely different. Where are those places in our lives where we expect something to turn out one way, we thought we knew, and we recognize there is a potential for so much more? I need you to use that. Thank you.
I light this candle to represent the darkness, the sacred womb out of which every new possibility is born. Affirm with me, I am awakening the power of creation.
I am awakening the power of creation.
New ideas arise, and I courageously say yes.
New ideas arise, and I courageously say yes.
And reading from John 20, verse 3. Then Peter and the other disciple set out and went toward the tomb. The two were running together. Then Simon Peter came and went into the tomb. He saw the linen wrappings lying there and the cloth that had been on Jesus' head, not lying with the linen wrappings, but rolled up in a place by itself. Then the other disciple also went in, and he saw and believed.
It is commonly thought the disciple referred to in the Gospel of John as the one whom Jesus loved is the disciple John. Faith and love go to the tomb. It is still early and the light is faint. Faith steps into the dark and sees the linen cloths where Jesus had been laid. Love follows. This is the natural progression. When we open ourselves to a new state of consciousness, faith must lead the way and love must be there. Faith is the ability to see beyond the circumstance and to remember the truth. The truth is not a relative truth that is made up and is subject to the effects of this world. This truth is absolute. It is true all of the time. This truth may be the realization of wholeness, oneness, unity, power, inspiration, love, or any other attributes that are revealed through the realization that the Christ has risen. Love is always right alongside faith. Love is the great attractor and sustainer within us. When we activate the powers of faith and love, nothing, no thing is impossible.
I light this candle for the lights of faith and love, the powers that awaken my heart and mind to new ideas. Affirm with me, I am faithful and loving.
I am faithful and loving.
Faith encourages and love sustains me to take right action.
Faith encourages and love sustains me to take right action.
And from John 20, verses 11 and 12. But Mary stood weeping outside the tomb. As she wept, she bent over to look in the tomb and saw two angels in white sitting where the body of Jesus had been lying, one at the head and the other at the feet. From Luke 24, verse 5, and the angels asked, "Why do you look for the living among the dead?"
The angels represent the coming of the light or inspiration. When we have faith and love, we are open and receptive to the inspiration that comes with the light. This divine light brings light into the darkest corners, revealing to us the thoughts that no longer serve us and open the way to new ideas to come forth. Following the death of Jesus, the disciples did not fully understand what was happening, even though Jesus told them what would happen. Their eyes needed to be open to see. Unity teacher Eric Butterworth says, "We put things right. We don't put things right. We see things rightly." When we have new vision, when we see the world through the eyes of the risen Christ, we see anew.
I light this candle for the light of the light, the light that illumines our minds and clears away the film from our eyes. Affirm with me, I clearly see the beauty of spirit all around me.
I clearly see the beauty of spirit all around me.
I am illumined in heart and mind.
I am illumined in heart and mind.
Sorry. From Luke 24, verses 13 through 17. Now, on that same day, two of them were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem, and talking with each other about these things that had just happened. While they were talking and discussing, Jesus himself came near and went with them. And he said to them, "What are you discussing with each other while you walk along?" They stood still and looking sad. Then one of them, named Cleopas, answered him, "Are you the only stranger in Jerusalem who does not know the things that have taken place there in these days?"
Two men are walking from Jerusalem to Emmaus. One of the men is Cleophas, who is known to be one of the disciples' father. These men are perplexed about the events that have been happening. It all seems so unreal. How can this be? Emmaus, metaphysically, is a place in consciousness where the healing, restoring love and life and truth of spirit spring up and flow freely through man's being. Once we have experienced the light of inspiration, the healing and restoring love and life of spirit spring up within us. There's an energy that arises within us, an excitement about what is possible. This is a state of grace. Jesus is walking by their side and they do not recognize him. This does not prevent him from being present. The presence of life and truth are not contingent on our recognition. The activation of these powers is, as we will see.
I light this candle for the light of grace. Affirm with me, grace is love in action as life and truth.
Grace is love in action as life and truth.
I am open and receptive to the transformative activity of grace awakening within me.
I am open and receptive to the transformative activity of grace awakening within me.
Where's the mic? From Luke 24, 28 through 32. As they came near the village to which they were going, he walked ahead as if he were going on, but they urged him strongly, saying, "Stay with us, because it is almost evening, and the day is now nearly over." So he went on to stay with them. When he was at the table with them, he took bread, blessed and broke it, and gave it to them. Then their eyes were opened, and they recognized him, and he vanished from their sight. They said to each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he was talking to us on the road, while he was opening the scriptures to us?"
Inspiration is always available to us as we open ourselves to recognizing the presence within us. The two men and Jesus walk along the road together. They did not know who he was. Is this not also true of us sometimes? The Christ consciousness is always right here. It is up to us to recognize it. Breaking bread is symbolic of ingesting the truth to the extent that it goes throughout our whole being to nourish and grow until we express it fully in all of our affairs. The bread was the bread of life, the bread of Christ's consciousness. What does that mean? When we get caught in our mind and make things complicated, the recognition of the Christ within makes things quite simple.
I light this candle for inspiration. Affirm with me, I am inspired by the presence of the Christ.
I am inspired by the presence of the Christ.
New and wonderful ideas inspire me to live life anew.
New and wonderful ideas inspire me to live life anew.
And reading from Luke 24, verses 33 through 35. The same hour they got up and returned to Jerusalem, and they found the 11 and their companions gathered together. They were saying, "The Lord has risen indeed. He has appeared to Simon." They told what had happened on the road and how he had been made known to them in the breaking of the bread.
The Lord is risen. The Lord is risen indeed. The Lord is risen. The Lord is risen in me. In me and you and everyone, as we turn away from the false beliefs that anything can separate us from God. The same hour, it is time. It is time to awaken to the awareness of the living Christ presence within. Through and the living Christ presence within, through and all around us. We awaken to the power of zeal and enthusiasm. It is this power that moves us forward. Zeal is what sent the two men running back to Jerusalem to tell the disciples what had happened. It is this same zeal that enlivens us to take action. Becoming aware of the risen Christ within us is also an invitation to express this incredible experience. This is not an experience that we just hold on to. We act on it. Unity's fifth principle is we act on what we believe. How that shows up is up to us. What action are you being called to take this day?
I light this candle for the light of zeal. Zeal lights my way as I express Christ consciousness. Affirm with me, I am the light unto the world.
I am a light unto the world.
Zeal and enthusiasm empower my actions.
Zeal and enthusiasm empower my actions.
Reading from Luke 24, 36 through 37. While they were talking about this, Jesus himself stood among them and said to them, "Peace be with you." They were startled and terrified and thought they were seeing a ghost. He said to them, "Why are you frightened? And why do doubts arise in your hearts?" While in their joy, they were disbelieving and still pondering. He said to them, "Have you anything here to eat?"
Peace be with you. And they were terrified. When we hear this story, we can hear how the disciples were all over the map. Just a moment ago, they were claiming the risen Lord. Now he shows up. They're terrified and begin to doubt in their hearts. This does not represent a lack of faith on the part of the disciples. I think this is an important part of the story in that it demonstrates how, as humans, when we are experiencing strong emotions, we can flip from one side of belief to the other in a snap. We can come to church and hear a talk that inspires us and sing songs together, and we are with people that we truly care about, and we're as community. And then we go home and something happens and we get angry or confused. This is normal. This does not mean that church was a waste of time or that we're hypocrites. It is about consciousness, and consciousness shifts by moving. In order for us to make the transformational shifts we are called to make, we will move through a process of belief and then doubt. And when we do not resist it, belief will win out.
I light this candle for the living light of Christ consciousness. It is this Christ consciousness that awakens me to my divinity and transforms any doubts. Affirm with me, the light of Christ illumines my path.
The light of Christ illumines my path.
I am the light of the world.
I am the light of the world. The lighting of the 7 candles is an act of acknowledgement that becoming aware of the risen Christ within us is a process. It is not a once-a-year affair. It's an energy that we move within daily, inviting us to express in deeper, higher, and wider consciousness. In order to embody what this means, we're adding a component to our service today, and that is a white stone ceremony. The idea of the white stone ceremony comes from Revelations 2:17. Let anyone who has an ear listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches. To everyone who conquers, who overcomes, I will give some of the hidden manna, and I will give a white stone, and on the white stone is written a new name that no one knows except the one who receives it. It is only fitting that we take a time this morning to listen. We are celebrating today the overcoming of death by Jesus and overcoming of our own beliefs of limitation. As we enter into a time of meditation, we are going to listen as if someone is going to whisper into our ear the greatest secret ever. We're going to listen with our whole being and hear a new name. Now, this new name may show up as a quality, such as love or peace. It is that which you will take on and own as an expression of your being, this new risen expression of your being. It is for you to hold all year long. Now, one of the things that can happen when we listen intently to Spirit and Spirit whispers in our ear, that new name, we go, oh, that couldn't be it. No. Let me listen again. Let me come up with something else. Surely I can come up with something else. Surely I can come up with something else. But don't judge it. You may not recognize its full value in this moment, but as months go by in this year and you sit with that new name or that word or that quality, it may bring something alive in you that you did not expect. This is about learning to express our authentic self, the self that we were created to be. No matter what the name, the being aspect is what is important. How do I bring this energy into, how do we bring this energy into our lives and allow that energy to bring with it new life, to bring with it a true Easter? And so the way that we're going to do this is we're going to go into meditation. And as we're in meditation, we're just going to sit in the silence. After I'll lead us into a space of silence. We'll sit in the silence. As that comes up for you, whatever that word is that comes up for you, use your pencil and write it on your stone. And just sit with that word as you continue in the silence. Just sit with that word and be with that word and see what comes alive for you in that word. Okay. So I'm just going to invite us to close our eyes if we're comfortable doing so. We close our outer eyes and open our inner eyes. And we breathe into this moment. We follow the sacred breath, the life force that moves in us and through us. We just allow that breath and as we breathe, we may notice places where we're holding some tension. There may be something that we came in with this morning that we're holding on to still. Allow it to be in the breath. Just allow yourself to be in this moment, dropping your shoulders, feeling that tension wherever it is in your body, just release. We prepare the body to be present to the spirit. Jesus often began his teaching by saying, listen. For those who have ears to hear. And in this moment, we acknowledge that we have ears. And we set an intention to listen. Listening to that still small voice that is within us. Just being aware of the presence of God right here, right now. Remaining in this sacred space, whenever you're ready, you can just write your word on your stone. Again, focusing on our breath. Focus on the awareness of this word, the power within this word, the life within this word. And if we are willing to do so, we make a commitment to ourselves to allow this word to unfold in our lives over the coming months, to allow that new life to be risen within us. So we just take a moment in our own hearts and make that commitment. We decree it to be so in the name of the living Christ. Amen.